Turf Talk with Drew Miller.
For this episode, we have two NCAA legends in Casey Carrick and Brandon Harden at the booth there in Salt Lake City. It was truly an incredible conversation that led to some great ideas that I think we're really going to hit the ground running with bringing awareness to our industry. It was just incredible to talk to them about everything that has to deal with college athletics. You know, there are so many aspects that we don't take into account, and there are so many things that as sports field managers, we have to be aware of and we need to be able to care for, you know? And I think one of the big things that we took away from this podcast was that those things need to be brought to the attention of those in sort of the seat of power or decision-making. And it's just incredible to see what these two have accomplished in their time at UNC and Mississippi State. They've inspired me since I was in school for a very long time, and now they've been such an inspiration for my kids, whether that's some field designs they've come up with or just painting patterns. There are just so many different things that I can't thank them enough for, and to be able to call them my friends is truly an honor. To be able to, again, have important discussions and being able to sort of come up with a plan moving forward on very, very important topics in our industry is truly something that everyone should be striving for and everybody should be looking forward to, you know. One of the big things that we got into for this podcast was the need for the next generation, and truly what we have seen in our own careers throughout our own time, what they've been able to develop on their crews has been nothing less than incredible. You know, they have guys that they can trust, that they can put the full weight of an NCAA athletic event in their power and trust them wholeheartedly, you know, and it's something truly inspiring. And these two have really set the standard when it comes to being an excellent groundskeeper at any level, and their work in their communities are unparalleled to not only help promote our industry, but just to provide safe playing surfaces for everyone that they can. And it is having a lasting impact on their communities directly in their areas as well as beyond, you know. And I think that's something that we all have to strive for and all have to accomplish in our work, is to not just care for yourselves and your athletes, but for those around you, and any way that we can, whether that's a phone call to an athletic director, whether that's going out and doing a site visit. There are just so many different things that we can be doing and that we have, and many of you do, and many of you listening, I know you're incredible people. So again, it's an awesome episode that you really got to listen to, because you can't say it better than them when it comes to sports field management and everything they've been able to accomplish. So again, Casey, Brandon, I appreciate you both, and I really cannot thank you enough. I hope you guys have a fantastic 2023, and I hope everyone enjoys this episode of Tiger Turf Talk. All right, let's get into it. We're back at the booth here at Salt Lake City, SFMA 2023. God, I can't believe it's 2023. I just realized that. Sorry.
That's crazy.
We're here for the NCAA panel with two of my favorite people in this industry. It's awesome to see you guys, to be able to catch up. How's everything going for you guys? A lot going on in athletics, and especially for the college level. What have you guys been up to recently? Obviously, you just finished a panel talking about, is it field construction?
Yeah, field building.
So, I mean, what's going on with you guys, and we'll just get into it.
Yeah, I mean, from a work standpoint, we're in a good spot. Construction wise, we've done a bunch over the last couple of years, but we're finally just maintaining what we have. So, but it's college athletics. We're the off seasons. No more off season. So it's year round. I think the demands, and Brandon can touch on this too, but the demands from coaches and administrations is as high as it's ever been, and I think we're doing everything we can to match those expectations, level of play.
Yep. Even, we've had a nice little Christmas break, and this conference is always, for me, it's that last little bit of a break.
Yeah.
And of course, I get to see all of y'all, but it's that last break before we gear up hot and heavy in the spring sports, and we all know, that's a really busy time for us. So
probably more chaotic most of the year, right?
It is.
Yeah.
We got 5+ sports going. Like everybody else. So
yeah, I mean, when it comes to everything with college athletics, you don't understand the levels and the teams and the just coaches that you're dealing with. I actually was lucky enough to go see Casey this past winter, I guess, with the facilities and everything. When you guys are, going to work, obviously there's a crew behind it. What has it been like for you guys sort of developing your crews? Again, both you have incredible guys on there that do an incredible job, that you've been able to build sort of that standard and that trust. What has that been like for you guys over the years?
I tell people sometimes I think we've gotten lucky with some good hires. We vet people, and we I think we have a reputation now that when we have a job open, there are some good people in the industry that want to come work with us. But I think bringing guys on and training them and things like that have really helped us out. We brought some guys in that honestly have more experience than me at things, and it's really cool to learn from them and just see how they do things. And a lot of times just get out of their way.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And what a lot of people don't understand and what they don't see is that, okay, you might hear of a job opening, but just between all of us in the industry, how fast those job openings spread, it's unreal. In my case, I'm finally to a point I'm truly blessed. Now, we went through some rough years with some turnover. I've had Penn State guys, Iowa State guys, you name it, we've had them. And there's just that homesick effect. When you get away from home for that many years,
sure.
2 years, and then guys are kind of burning out. In this industry, it's easy to do. So I've got a mix of 2-year degree and 4-year degree guys on my staff, and it works. And it's taken so much off of me because those guys are what I call my guys. They started as a student, they've worked their way through, now they're on full time. So they make my job a lot easier. They let me deal with the administrative part of it a lot more now.
Absolutely. When it comes to your group, your guys, there's obviously, you can tell, and especially at these events when you're around them and without you guys around, you can tell that they're your guys, just because of who you guys are as leaders and who you guys are mentors. It's just incredible to see. How was this past year for you guys? Any unique things happening? Obviously, some crazy times in Mississippi State and incredible things going on with every sport. UNC is kind of like national champion central outside of football, well, baseball too. For you guys, what has it been like this past year for you? Any crazy stories to tell?
When we lost Coach Leach, it was tough. It was tough on everybody. He's only been there 3 years, but he was that type of person. He listened more than he talked. Especially, what our last conversation was about? Photosynthesis. He seriously wanted to know what that grass was doing under his feet. And so when he had a way of making people feel included. It didn't matter what your job was, he made you feel included. So when we lost him, it was tough. Now, he made our jobs a little harder with those Thursday practices.
Yeah.
But that's part of it. We roll with it, we fuss about it, and we go on, And the good thing is he would listen. And he would listen, he would understand what was happening, what he was doing to that grass, and why we were fussing, why we were upset about it is because we wanted that standard to be as high as we could for our athletes. And he was tearing that standard down just a little bit, So, but yeah, other than that, everything's good. Of course, we're just hired a new AD, so we'll see how he does with us.
Right?
Yeah. So, I think we're in a good spot. I think he understands. Coming from Oklahoma, I think he has a good knowledge of what's happening there, and hopefully brings that over there with us.
That's awesome to have sort of that big name. It's hard, and nothing against ADs that are coming from a smaller school. It's just the culture shock for them, sort of like, oh, I can do that? Oh, what this? It's incredible to have someone come in. We had Whit Babcock come from Cincinnati, and it was just night and day, It was just very simple. Other thing with coaches, it's always interesting to see. Emerson up at Virginia Tech, they don't have walkthroughs anymore on the game field. So it's like, he's like, my life is completely different. I'm not rushing. I'm not doing anything until Wednesday. I'm like, yeah, I bet you no one else has that. So live for that, know.
And our situation is a little bit different than in Brandon's, but we've had a couple coaching turnovers over the last couple of years. The last one we had from the outdoor sports that we worked with daily was in 2011. So we went a long time with the same coaches, and you develop the relationships with them, and you develop their trust, and we know what to expect from them, and they know what to expect from us, and then they retire, and you get somebody new, and it may completely change up everything.
It does,
and it's tough to. Like Brandon said, we'll adapt. I mean, it's at the end of the day, the fields that we're maintaining are for our team. So if they want to use them, we're going to let them use them and figure out how to make them the best we can. But again, that just goes back to the communicating with the coaches.
It's good you touched on that, because it's not. You don't have a problem learning a new coach. It's not us. We're versatile. That's why we're in the jobs we're in. It's more the coaching staff's learning us. They think we're going to say no to everything, and that's not the case. We are here. We're the do-it-all. We do it from flat tires to, for assistants or
those are always fun.
Administrative women in the office have a flat. We run, go fix it. It doesn't matter. Mason Miller, our offensive line coach, called us one day and said, "Hey, my lawnmower tire's flat, and I don't have time to fix it." I said, "Throw it in my truck." And, we're the do-it-all. So it's more about those staffs. And, we've had a bunch of turnover in ours in football in the last few years. So these staffs come in, and we've been blessed because Mississippi State is a little bit smaller. We're at the bottom, so we have to have those relationships. Casey understands too. If you don't have that relationship, and I know a bunch of people in our industry that don't have that relationship.
They don't try to either.
Yeah, they don't want to.
Yeah,
they want to just fly under the radar. I'm totally different. I'm not going to bother you. I'm not going to bother the coach. But when you need me, I'm there.
100%.
And I want to have that relationship. The more we communicate, the better it is for everybody. That's always.
And it speaks volumes to, again, who you are as a person. Like it's not in your job title to do things like that.
Right.
It's just little things like that reciprocates in the long run. And that's something that a lot of people don't quite understand, and especially at the college level, when there's so many different things that go into like the levels and the groups and the coaches and the athletic directors on the athletic directors, it's a whole different animal.
Layer on layer.
I mean, we're both at two really big time colleges, ACC and SEC, and I know there are people that look at us that think they've got unlimited resources, but I mean we do. We're given a lot of tools and good budgets to do our job, but I mean,
we're still pitching pennies.
Said, we're like everybody else, we're washing the pads, we're doing things that aren't necessarily sports turf related, but that's what we do.
Other duties as a staff.
Yeah.
Event managers.
How we can help.
Yeah.
And then, you go back to the hires that the people that we've been lucky to hire, or the staff that we have. I mean, how long have you been at Mississippi State?
15 years.
Yeah, and I'm going on.
I was going to get to that, yeah.
I was going on 13 in Carolina, and it's a good thing. The longer we're there, I think we're given more responsibility, and we're tasked with other things, meetings and things outside of being on the field every day. So the fact that we have staffs that we can really rely on, it helps me sleep at night.
It definitely does.
Talking about that, these administrations, who's the first person they're going to call when something goes down? It's us. Okay.
Usually the groundskeeper.
Yeah, exactly. So
we're not calling
we weren't necessarily getting the quality on the landscaping side for what they wanted, right? So who'd they call? Us. Yeah. So now I've got all the athletics, landscape as well.
Grounds
so
and everything.
Grounds and everything, which is, I like a challenge. But, like I said, my crew allows me to be able to do that, and hopefully we'll make some headway on that side too.
And I think you guys do the best job at this, is like when things like that go down, like, oh, we're adding this, but we're not giving you any other help. There's not another person coming in, It's the adversity you guys face that you don't really see on different levels. You don't. NFL teams, it's a stadium and a practice facility. There's not an event space that they have to deal with. There's other departments for that. You guys are on everything, and that you guys have a passion for what you're doing. So that's why, again, you guys are the best in this industry.
Or build a new building. A new building.
Exactly.
And a new training building. We don't budget to take care of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the
100%. Yeah. When I was at Tech, I mean, they built 3 new things, and on my way out, they were renovating Rector Fieldhouse for the track facility, and it was like, no one's coming in. You got a whole other field you got to take care of. I'm like, good luck, Casey. I can't help you.
That's just the truth.
So, and those are the things that, again, we look forward to as sports field managers. So, what is it that you guys look forward to the most, when it comes to your job? Obviously, the best word for it is you have families. Your grounds crew are family members. It's just, it is what it is. And specifically you guys and the guys that I've met from your crews, like, you can tell, it's just a family. And that's how you guys get the job done, and you're working the endless hours and all that. What is it that sort of keeps you going?
especially in college athletics, what we're doing. There's so many. There's the softball, there's the baseballs, the footballs, the soccer, and it's never the same thing every day. It's the season. The baseball season, softball season's coming up right now. We're all excited. When May rolls around, we might all be burnt out. But then it's going to be the summertime. We're going to switch to camps, and we're going to get burnt out of camps, and then it's football season. So it's never the same thing every day or.
I think that's fun. That's what I tell people. Same thing what he just said is the reason that I chose sports turf instead of going to the golf side.
Yeah.
You get that rotation. I'm not looking at 18 greens every day. Same thing. I couldn't even imagine.
And God bless them.
Yes. Yeah, no doubt.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it. We've had people come work for us before, and they're not. They moved on. They didn't. Sports turf wasn't for them. They didn't I'm a sports guy. I love watching football. But anything on TV. So getting to be around it at the level we get to be around it, it's incredible.
Well, and I have to remind myself all the time. Look, it was a tough 10 years in there with a certain AD for us, right? There was time and coaches. And there were some headaches along the way. But
absolutely.
My kids, like I had one this morning. He had a little bit of headache with a certain coach this morning, so he called me and kind of vented. But it's like I tried to remind him, and I have to remind myself more than I have to remind my guys. But we are privileged to work in these facilities. And I have a buddy of mine who's actually a high school football coach. Tells me all the time, he says, just quit whining, quit fussing. People would die to have your job. Yeah. And, the more I have to remind myself about that we do, and they're not so much now, but these stadiums, I mean, you look at where he is. Look at where these stadiums are hallowed ground to a lot of people. There's reasons that these people want to spread ashes on our fields and stuff. It's because they look at it like that. Yeah. So I'm guilty of it. I have to remind myself all the time that we are privileged to have these jobs and to be in these situations.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've been doing it for so long that walking out on our football field is second nature.
Doing absolutely.
This, and you'll find a family that's visiting campus and, they want to go out and walk them out, and you can just tell you made their day. And I put myself in those shoes. What if that was me and my two little boys somewhere else? That memory that we just helped them make.
For sure.
You never know.
You kind of come, and I remember when I was fully in it, you kind of become numb to it. It's not.
That's a good way.
It's my office.
That's right.
It's what I do. And when my kids came down, it was sort of that moment. It was like, you remember when you turn the lights on, they're like, all right, you know people, Miller.
for me, and a big part of that for me, and a lot of people, some of my colleagues, some of my friends, Casey's done a good job with it. We've got to let go because of that numbness or that second nature. It's just an office now to us. Well, these guys we're hiring, and I feel like I've tried to do a pretty good job with that for these kids because they still got that starstruck in their eyes, that look, that's what and the more we step out of their way, like Casey said, they make us look that much better.
Absolutely. Now, sort of going into the next generation, obviously you got some young guys on staff. Obviously when you're looking, there's really the main viewpoint is those young kids that are coming out of college, even in college, whatever it is. What has it been like for you guys sort of seeing that next generation come in, sort of mold them, show them the ropes? Sometimes they fit, sometimes they don't. But being a mentor and all that, again, there's just so many things that go into it that are like second nature. They're not like something that you've planned out a meeting to have with this kid to show, hey, this is what this is. I need you to understand we're trying to get you to this point. It's just sort of organic the way it happens. But what have you guys noticed over the years sort of being a part of that, whole movement towards the next generation?
I think what you're doing with your students, I think that's incredible. Those are the kids we want to hire. When there's a lot of times where, and we have guys on our staff like this that are incredible. They really don't have the turf background, but they like sports, they like being outside, and they have a really good work ethic, and they're very teachable. And that's all you can ask for. Somebody that shows up, wants to learn, take pride in their work,
teachable.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, I don't know, again, it's hard to do in this industry because we're trying to, again, promote professionalism. And what comes with professionalism in most industries is a college degree, And it's so hard to say that when, I've got kids that I would say were better than me after 3 years I was in the industry, that like they're just fresh out of high school that, I would send them to you guys in a heartbeat that they would fit right into the crew, know half of what they're trying to do, understand they can paint the whole football field without any help if necessary. You know, like those are the things that, like, again, just a little bit. The 17-year-old kid knowing it, yeah. But like things like that, where do you guys see sort of that bridge between professionalism and we obviously have a need for, and it's not labor, and it's not that I hate when people say we're short on labor. We're short on skilled labor. You know, we can find labor. If we go find somebody, but the work ethic's not there. The people aren't.
It's just a job to those.
Exactly. Where do we find those skilled laborers that are going to want to learn more, that are wanting to be there? You know, what do you sort of see the solution to that sort of gap of, again, professionalism, meaning college degree versus, again, maybe a high school kid who just wants a chance? Sorry, didn't mean to stop you.
No. That's a great question. And it goes back to, I mean, I think getting the kids started at a younger age. You know, when I was in high school, you know, we were going out lining our baseball field, dragging it up, doing softball. That's what we were doing during school. And even during that, I had no idea that this was a profession. You know, and if somebody like you would have had a program at our high school, I'd have been all over it. You know, and I don't feel like I missed years, but I didn't get started in it until I was a sophomore in college.
Same thing here. I was a freshman in college before I ever discovered that Mississippi State had this curriculum. You know, which is the marketing side of our industry is not very good. You know, you do a fantastic job.
Thank you.
But we've got to, you know, we get shut down on social media a lot. You know, we're told not to engage with fans and stuff like that. So it's hard for us to market what we're wanting these kids to bring to us and to help us. You know, our industry is very fulfilling. You know, Leo Gertz used to tell us, our job is something where at the end of the day, you can turn around and look behind you and see exactly what you did.
Yeah.
So projecting that to these kids and making that more important than a dollar figure
100%.
is hard. Because I had a student or a future student email me this morning and say, how much am I going to be making? Well, and I told him, he's like, I can't work for that. I'm like, that's double what I was making as a student.
Yeah, that's somebody told me, like, Virginia Tech's paying $12 an hour. I was getting paid $7.20.
That was $5.25.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, when you look at it at face value, it's like, it's hard, you know, because everybody, like, even like on campus, they're making like $20 an hour. And it's like, how do you compete with that? But at the same time, like what I try and tell my kids that are in college right now at Tech, like you're going to learn so much from that job and the experience that you're going to benefit from that. You're in college. You don't need that much money right now. You're not going to like be the end of the world since you're making $3 less, you know? And again, the connections, like being able to come here after knowing people that I work for, like they introduced me to more people. And again, that's how this network that I have had like grow every single day. You know, that's just what it is.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, somebody touched on it the other day. Social media is, whether you use it or you don't want to use it or you use it, whatever, it's here. And, you know,
that was our talk actually.
Yeah. I mean, it's that's what it is, you know, and you, I think they'll post pictures online and we'll post pictures, and it's really cool to share ideas with other sports shirt managers.
Absolutely.
And then it's fun to see the fans that come to the games, you know, see that and comment, or, you know, a high school coach call you up and say, I see what you're doing out here. And that doesn't necessarily get the younger kids in it, but, you know, there's somebody out there that might see that and say, you know what, this looks like a cool job. How do I get in? How do I get into this?
And to touch on that, to bridge that gap, you know who we need to use, you know who we've got to use, but we don't do a good job with, is the coaches. The coaches at a high school level, they're pushing 100%. These kids, these baseball coaches, where are they pushing these kids to go play baseball or do this? They're not saying, hey, you might probably not going to play D1 baseball. You might want to go be the groundskeeper and still be around it. I mean, look at us. We jumped it.
Yeah. You guys are giving my talk. The largest untapped market is high school athletics. You know, like when you talk about everyone wants to be a professional baseball player. You know, I was that fifth grader, like my job is going to be Major League Baseball player. Like I want to be that, you know. And then if you're in high school, like 10% make it to college, you know. So how do we keep those 90% in the game? Groundskeeping. Those 10% in college, 5% aren't going to make it to the pros. But again, like having these kids have an into the industry, not our artistry, but the sports industry, you know, that's just something that we can do. And I'll bring it up to you guys because maybe us three can go and do this. One of the big things I think that we need to do as an industry when it comes to marketing is go to other associations. So if you guys are down, set up a presentation for the American Baseball Coaches Association, and we just do like talks on maintaining your field, and then there would be a part about SFMA, and then a part about high school turf programs, you know, because what we're seeing is a lot of the high school coaches that are reaching out to me, setting up these programs, they're not turf background, but if we can get high school baseball coaches on board, and then we can provide them the support and the information and the class stuff that they need, it's really just the introduction to get to a college program, to get to a job, which then becomes, okay, now they're going to get the actual like turf background. And I again, graduated college, so I have that background. I definitely use it in my classes, but I understand like baseball coaches don't know the difference between a rhizome and a stone. You know, like it's not something they're expected to know. So,
and it's
what would you guys think about doing that?
No, I'm game whatever. You know, we'll do whatever we can. It's a hard sell though, because you know Mississippi State hosts a turf field day, and then they offer a short course. So y'all know I own my own business on the side too, right? So I deal with these coaches all the time. I deal with these baseball coaches predominantly. They're the ones calling, wanting lips cut, this done. They want this and that. And I tell them all the time, look, you got to have somebody. You can't do all this yourself, 100%. And you've got to know what you're doing to do it. It's like that starts with not just you talking to me, but get your kids involved. Yep. Because you're only going to be as good as your field allows you to be.
100%.
I walk out on these high school baseball fields, it's got an 8-inch lip in the back.
Oh, man.
You know, and I'm just like, how are you taking ground balls?
Are you alive still? Like,
yeah.
You don't have broken teeth?
Do you want a game on this?
So can you smile so I can see?
So I think I'm all in. Because it's going to help all the way around. So
I mean, I'll make the connection, see if anybody, because I know my brothers are baseball coaches and they went to the conference, and there were a couple people that are like, why don't we have someone like a professional come in and give a talk, you know, like on maintaining a mound. I can't tell you how many times like you go to a game, and I help coach their team, so like it's just like what did you do to get to this point? It'll be like 3 feet tall, or it'll be non-existent, it'll be dust,
or it'll be flat with a nail rubber sitting there with just dirt kind of
exactly.
I'm like, how are these kids throwing?
Yeah, we do one of those. The North Carolina High School Football Association does a conference every year in Greensboro, and every year we try to send. A couple of us went last year and just gave a short presentation, and you know, I mean, we're not gonna reinvent the wheel for them, but you know, some tips on mowing.
They don't know it.
But when we gave them that avenue to ask questions.
Yeah.
They ask 100 questions.
Yeah.
You know, so that was.
You could set up at that coaches conference. You could set up a 2-hour window for
us.
There's
7,000 members that go every year. And like that's my thing. Is like
you wouldn't get to everything in 2 hours.
No, and again, like that's. The point is to open the door to SFMA.
No doubt.
You guys should be, and I was talking to Son earlier, like we should have, at Virginia we do an associates membership where like high school coaches, ADs and whatnot, and that's the other conferences do, athletic directors, you know, is you guys are sports managers whether you like it or not. Sure. You know what I mean? It's not something you've decided, it's just the high school's not paying anyone to take care of your field.
Well, you know, and you talk about the high schools too, with the programs y'all are starting are incredible. And I don't know how it was at Mississippi State. I was at NC State, but there was nothing at the time that steered me towards sports turf. Mm-hmm. It was golf and landscaping, and that was great.
Yeah.
But, you know, I randomly started working on their football stadium, and I'm still here. But I think the colleges could do a better. I think the colleges, the programs could do.
They don't market it.
They could do a better job, and I don't know how we, help the kids realize that hey, there is another side of the industry.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's every time they get in front of us, I always get another kid that's intrigued. It may just be one.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's all
I help teach. Yeah, and I help teach turf labs. You know, on football field, all that stuff. We do as much as we can for them.
For sure.
And the downside, and it's a little bit depressing, is that we're seeing more. You know, a lot of the curriculums at Mississippi State require these kids to take turf management, the class.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll go do this lab, and there's 2 turf kids in it, and there's 30 PGA majors, or there's all these other horticultural majors in that class. I'm just like, and they're looking at me like, huh?
Yeah.
You do what? This? What? What's that? Why?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
You know, and so I think the more we can get in front of these people, it's always going to be better.
And again, I'm not trying to alarm anyone, but like there's a big like sort of shift going on right now, like. McNitt's retiring. A lot of these like staples in our industry are starting to be again getting to that point where like we should be sort of like, oh shit, like who's next?
Yeah.
You know, like Dr. Straw at Texas A&M was young, but like when we're talking about education wise, and I have so many conversations with so many different professors, and they're just struggling to get kids.
And you know what they're doing in order to keep the kids is now the curriculums are starting to come down a little bit.
Yes,
you know,
they're starting to
I will
shift
tell
to
you,
broader.
yeah, and I'm sure his was at NC State was just as hard or harder than mine. But those curriculums when I went to school were hard.
Yeah,
they were hard. And now I'm looking at my kids come through and I'm like, you got to take what? You don't have to take this.
Yeah,
no organic.
You don't have to
chemistry
take
anymore?
organic chemistry and Friday.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have to take organic chemistry
man.
at school. I took it at community college.
That one almost
I
kept me
cheated.
in school.
Sue me.
Good for you though.
Sue me. I was not gonna spend sleepless nights over OChem.
You know, when you get to these college programs and their turf clubs and everything, and every once in a while we'll have the opportunity to go talk to them.
Yeah.
You ask them what they want to do, and I try to encourage them because I didn't do this on purpose, but I started out working at the golf course during the summer. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what got me into turf. So I did a couple years of golf, and then I went to sports turf. And at the time, I loved golf.
Yeah.
Then I started doing sports turf, and now I can't ever fathom myself
going that
golf.
way. Yeah.
So I do encourage the younger kids. When they ask, I'm like, try them both.
Yes,
like, try.
That's exactly what I told them.
Go do a summer at a golf course. Do a summer with whatever, because I can. Look, and I'm not knocking golf. That's a great industry, and there's some very passionate people. But,
for sure.
I mean, standing on the sideline of a football game when there's 60,000 people,
nothing else like it, right?
Come on, that's a rush. Like, that's fun.
Yeah,
so,
that's what
and it's about the money. Some of these kids they look
very
at
true.
the contrast between a golf course superintendent's pay, even all the way down to assistant, first assistant, entry level mechanics.
Getting up there,
whatever. Yeah, that side has progressed drastically, and we're still sitting behind a little bit on the.
We're
sports
moving.
side.
It's not drastic though.
No,
like
it's
again,
slowly.
like the
but you know why it is?
boom,
Because we've been there for 50 years.
Yeah.
That's
the expectation, and it just gets me every time. It's like the expectation is still higher every single year, but the follow up with pay, time off, things like that help labor. There's just no response.
Here's the thing:
you guys are phenomenal at your jobs, so why would we change anything? That's the issue that I.
Here's a big comparison, and I told somebody this the other day, and they kind of looked at me funny, and it's like name the golf course. When the PGA event comes in, you don't think that superintendent isn't compensated for that?
Yeah,
because that's a year's worth of planning. All right, so he's in the same boat I'm in. The creation of this thing called the SEC Network means everything we have. Most of the practice fields are on TV every week. Yeah. Our games are on TV, our practices are on TV now, and it never shifted the money. Yeah, it shifted it way above our heads, but it didn't shift it for any of us nor our budgets.
Yeah.
And I mean, I remember the time where we were like, oh my gosh, we got ESPN this weekend. We'd have TV game one weekend a year at football, and we thought we were just high, on the list.
This is crazy.
And now, you're on TV Wednesday through Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, I've always had an issue with that when it comes to like just the overall, not even compensation, it's just understanding, it's not.
But it's all a package deal.
Yeah.
The compensation, them understanding what we really do, the heartburn we feel because
100%.
You don't, look, just, we talked about it to start the show. Yeah, we had a Christmas break, but did we have a Christmas break? Those fields don't quit growing. Those fields don't quit just because coach says, okay, guys, go home for 2 weeks.
We're good.
Yeah, we're just go home and forget about it for 2 weeks.
I'll do that and see what happens.
Christmas Day, I was there turning a valve off that had busted. So,
we had
dang it.
That's part of it, but it's
yeah. And just the understanding of that,
Yeah.
And I've been blessed that through the years, the further we go, we're getting some guys that actually understand it now.
Yeah, and my thing, and again, I don't understand these specific reasons. The events that you guys have to deal with outside of the sports, those bring in major dollars for the university and the athletic part specifically. Even the professional levels, like a Beyonce concert brings in multi-million-dollar deals. What is 2% of that to the grounds crew?
Yeah.
They don't understand 2% is something that would drastically change, A, your budget, B, the outlook of your life when it comes to compensation. And again, I bring it up specifically with Travis Hogan is Patrick Mahomes is making $500 million. take 2% of that, and he can evenly spread it out over the next 20 years, and still the compensation is like triple what it is right now for him. And it's like, what's 2% of that? Why are they so like greedy in the sense of that? And I'm not going after anybody for this, but like, where do we have that disconnect is my issue with that.
That's a fantastic point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think you have to fight. We have to fight for it. And it's not, you're not going to win that battle every year, but from
that's an approach I'm going to take. I'm going
But
to try
again,
that.
like look at that. Like
if it works for you, let me know.
Here's why. Because I sat in our executive staff meeting, and basically we're having a Cole Swindell
it's a big concert.
Well, it's not that big, but basically we're having it on Super Bowl all weekend, which is our biggest weekend of the spring.
Yeah.
We're playing Ole Miss, so it's going to be 15,000 people in our baseball stadium. And all they're doing to cover the cost, or they're adding $10, whatever it is, to the ticket price. Add 50 cents for us for football. So, I mean, that's a good approach, I feel like.
Really?
Even if it's 10 cents.
It's still going to be a big
huge
number
for us.
It's going to be a big number.
Look, I'm one of the few. A guy that used to work for me sent me a Snapchat this morning of a brand new fleet of John Deere equipment at the golf course down in Jackson, Mississippi. And I'm like,
jerk.
I'm sitting there going, don't rub it in my face, because I'm still jerk. Look, I've got a lad's hat in my back, and we go around, and I'm one of the only ones in the SEC, especially with real mowers, are $100,000 now.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous at the price of equipment, but I have to go around and knock on doors and swap out season football tickets for 4-year off-lease real mowers.
Yeah.
Just because if I went to our CFO and said I need $100,000 buy a new mower, he'd go, yeah, that's not going to happen.
But again, like, those are like capital expenses that shouldn't be a question. Like, you guys get every single hour out of those machines. There's never
we run it until it literally can't
run it
run
until
anymore.
like the wheels fall off.
And I had to do years ago. I kept telling I love our bosses, and we let them know that, hey, we don't have enough real mowers for what we're doing. We're mowing this field at the same height as this field, because we don't have a choice.
You can't change it.
And I think I called around.
I'm about to go through that at my facility.
A bunch of guys, and I said, how many acres do you mow? How many reels do you have? And I did the math, and I took that to them. I said, here's where we are compared to our counterparts. And it worked. We were able to get another one, but it's not always that easy.
No, and again, like, I don't understand why people listen to the data when, again, you're living it, And it's obviously important to have data, but like, there are so many things that can be avoided, problems that can be fixed. Like, it's just simple enough to just, hey, you know what? We're gonna do this for you, because guess what? You guys go out of your way to do everything for anyone. I bring it back to Casey Underwood when we were at Tech. Like, we were doing jobs like for construction that saved the school like probably like $500,000. I'm like, so if we saved you $500,000 and you can't give us $10,000 for something, like where's that correlate? You know what I mean?
And in our case, our we've had we're on our third CFO since I've been there, and this latest one, he came from Clemson. And so he sees what they worked with, and so he's been fantastic for us. But I don't currently need a new real mower, so I'm not going to ask for that.
Yeah.
So he's been fantastic. So it's not, I try to beat it in their head. Doesn't matter if it's administrative or it's my guys. Don't come at me with something you want.
Yeah.
Come at with something you need.
Yep. Yeah.
Because that's what I'm going to sell them on. That's what I'm telling them. Look, Coach Leach didn't want any ryegrass on the practice fields. How am I going to make that work and have it ready for spring practice in April? I'm sorry, it's going to cost you $50,000 worth of growth covers.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for $400,000 for lights because I got laughed out of the room. So I started with growth covers.
Which is ridiculous. We had that talk. I was like, you got to kid me.
Which is more work for us.
Yeah.
He created a problem for us. We're going to solve that problem, but it takes a little bit of money to do it. And in our case, he's been fantastic for us. So
that's great.
We're making great strides in that. The more that they understand, the more that it helps us.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's just making sure that, like, I just get aggravated talking about it. Sorry,
No, it's frustrating
because you guys do so much. It's just and I see it every day. Like, you go and turn on television, watch your game, and you see the season you've been through. You got temperatures dropping lower than it's ever been before, and people don't expect anything different.
We spoiled them. We spoiled them for years.
Exactly.
And then when they were spoiled back then when we didn't have all these events. And, I don't know what y'all got scheduled, but like I told you, we've already got one baseball or one concert scheduled on baseball for the spring. Then we have a big one for the fall schedule. And you know where that money's going. It's only going to get worse with this NIL stuff.
Yeah.
That money is going to these kids. It's not going anywhere else. So they're going to find those ways to raise that money, and we're going to be dealing with the negative effects of it.
Where's the groundskeeper NIL? What are we doing?
And as we keep doing this and we have better equipment and better staff and better surfaces that we build, the bar keeps being raised. And once you maintain at a certain level, there's no backing off.
No.
But
again, we're not those people,
No, we're not. And when you have turnover on your staff or you're short staff, you don't not get it done. You just figure out how to get what you got.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to the crew and everybody involved. But it's stressful. And
what happens if a baseball coach has a bad year or a football coach has a bad year? We don't get to have a bad year.
It's not allowed.
No, because it's not necessarily the coaches and administration that'll get you anymore. It's the fan base.
Yeah.
Well, then the fan base riles up the administration because
for no reason.
Yeah, they're going to cater to these fans.
And I mean, SEC baseball is one of the biggest things in the country. I mean, nothing. UNC's up with SEC when it comes to
SEC
ACC teams, but like, no one comprehends the amount of time off season, like camps and stuff. Why isn't the percentage of those camps not going to the field? Like,
yeah, and we've
make such a
implemented that.
dent in budgetary restrictions.
Yeah, because you're handcuffed to the schedule. It's not something like, hey, we need to be doing this. It's the heart of the summer.
And it's not the personal compensation side of the camps. They're paying. Well, now we'll see how this affects. With the new baseball coaches rule, maybe that kind of draws down some of those camp games and those showcase games.
It should.
Maybe the recruiting side of the showcase picks
it's all
up.
Scam.
But
not you guys, obviously, but like I'm in the heart of it with my high school students. I'm like, you guys are wasting thousands of dollars.
I've got 2 and 3-year-old boys, and I've told them they pick up a golf club every day. I was like, we're not doing baseball. I play baseball.
I mean, the thing is, like, they're seniors in high school, and they think they're going to get a D1 scholarship. I'm like, guys.
And their parents are buying in and spending $3,500, $7,000 per season. To get in front of some of these coaches when they know these kids are not going to make it.
Like, you're using the college tuition fund, people.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're 100% sure, which, by the way, 90% of the guys that are going to college are on teams that are paid for by their coaches.
That's right. That's right. I've seen some of the hotel bills for some of my friends that have older kids that play travel, and it just makes me want to throw up.
Nope.
Just terrible.
Keep that money in the bank account.
That'd be a tough one.
I'll spoil you on your birthdays and
I'll buy you new golf clubs every year if you just don't play travel.
There you go, for sure. And again, obviously, with you guys and everything you're doing, any big plans for 2023, Mississippi State UNC?
I don't know. We've got a graduation because the basketball arena's getting, we normally have it inside.
Yeah.
We've got 2 days of graduation plus some other stuff coming. So we don't have anything big planned.
Yeah.
Softball, hopefully renovation in a couple of years. We're building an indoor right now, so they're literally practicing from 8 o'clock
once
until
again,
4 o'clock.
adding new facilities on top of what's already been there, right?
Yeah. So it's nothing big right now. Just kind of in maintenance mode.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's kind of like us. We went through that big construction project a couple years ago. We're doing this. I say the small stuff, but the new scoreboards or new LED lights in the stadiums, things like that. That obviously require some of our input, but it's nice. I said it in the talk earlier this morning. A construction project for a sports field manager can be one of the most fun things to be a part of, and it can be one of the most frustrating things to be a part of. It's a once every so often opportunity.
When I did Duty Noble,
beautiful, by the way.
I had no idea that I would be as involved in the stadium as I was, and I felt privileged to do that because they trusted me with all that other stuff. But would I do it again, or do I want to do it again? No, absolutely not. Now next year we don't have anything next year because when our AD left and went to Auburn, we canceled our football project, which didn't affect the field that much, but they're taking the whole bowl out. We are the second oldest football stadium in the country. So our concrete is not structurally safe anymore.
Well, I'm glad they figured that out.
Yeah, and so they're going to take that out. Well, they kind of paused it for another year. So when they do, they're going to put a crane down our sideline. And you know what the guy told me? He said, we're just don't worry about it. Don't even water the other half of the field. We're just going to let it die.
Bastards.
He said, I'll budget $100,000 for fixing it. I was like,
How about you budget $1 million and we'll call it a day?
I was like, the construction side of that is going to be a little more than 100,000.
Don't worry, 100,000. You'll be fine. Just let it die. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you guys so much. Again, two of my favorites, and I can't thank you enough for all that you do, inspiring my kids every day. You know, taking the time to meet with them, and again, everything you guys do in social media, they're always watching. So we really appreciate it. And again, thank you for taking the time out here.
Enjoyed it. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course.